a majority of Americans, 59%, say Trump's policies have made economic conditions in the U.S. worse.
The inflation predictions there took it up from 5 to 6.5%.
But a best case scenario is a mild recession.
Let's hop into a brutal CNN segment about the economy after now getting a report that confirms economic growth is shrinking under this disastrous Trump presidency, and most credible economists are now predicting likely recession due to Trump's mishandling. We're going to see what they have to say. So if you can, first start by leaving us a like. It helps the video get out there a ton, and let's get right into the panel.
Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Chase, reportedly told investors just days ago, according to the Wall Street Journal, that a best case scenario is a mild recession. It's a daily drumbeat of warnings now coming from people who know a lot about the economy, and it has Americans worried. Our latest poll out this afternoon finding a majority of Americans, 59%, say Trump's policies have made economic conditions in the U.S. worse, which could explain why the administration is tonight doing all it can to not talk about the economy. Moments ago, Trump signing executive orders, this time regarding truck drivers and what language they speak, saying they have to speak English. Just look at the north lawn of the White House, fitting that theme. It's covered in photos of people the administration say are illegal immigrants. That's what they want to talk about. That's the discussion they want to have. They certainly do not want to talk about the economy. Over the past 100 days, the Dow has sank nearly 4,000 points, trillions of dollars gone. According to CNBC, the S&P drop over the first 100 days of Trump's presidency is on track to be the worst 100-day performance in the stock market since Nixon.
And the list of CEOs, investors, and most importantly, economists who are now predicting recession is likely, it's kind of insane given that 100 days ago, nobody was. And I hate that we even have to kind of make these things political, because the idea that an economist's politics would weigh into his economic analysis is really kind of ludicrous. But we're not even talking like liberal economists who are saying this, especially when it's like Barclays economist, JP Morgan CEO is saying this. They're all agreeing Trump has put us in a pretty scary place economically. Again, a place nobody was predicting under Biden. This is all entirely on Trump. It's directly indicated by Liberation Day, who, by the way, led us into 2 recessions in his first term. So it's like not even kind of surprising. And he now seeks to do even more irreparable damage that will, of course, need the Democrats, the adults in the room, to come and clean up in 2028.
You often don't know you're in a recession until after the fact. Technically, a recession is 2 consecutive quarters of contraction. What's really important here is that in the fourth quarter, GDP was about 2.4%. This Wednesday, our first look at first quarter GDP is going to come out. The prediction right now is 0.8%. But a lot of folks believe it's going to be negative because you're going to see a lot of distortions for the fact that people were actually stacking up inventory in advance of the tariffs. The second thing to keep in mind is the University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Index, which came out 2 weeks ago. That reading was the lowest reading since COVID, and the inflation predictions there took it up from 5 to 6.5%. So sentiment is absolutely not your friend right now. Add to it on Friday, you'll get the first look at the jobs data on Friday, and that will be reflective of the month of April.
And this panel was, of course, prior to the report's release, but we now know the economy did in fact shrink 0.3% in Trump's first 100 days. This is largely, again, if you look at the report, was growing until Liberation Day. Liberation Day, since then, it kind of caused things to drop from consumer sentiment to inflation to rise to GDP to go down. Underperforming the predictions, by the way, so being directly tied again to Trump, not Biden. You can't put it on him. And as she stated, consumer sentiment went from consecutive months of increase under Biden to a sharp decline to the lowest level since, well, the last time Trump was in office. It's just funny to watch MAGA now tell us that the Trump economy is actually good, as all the metrics they said made the Biden economy bad are now objectively worse, with inflation also predicted to rise and the job report on Friday sure to be brutal as it represents the tariff month. So we'll just have to wait and see for that one. One more quarter of negative month, though, and we're officially in another recession.
There's one market down that's big, and it's down a lot, and that is ours is down 8.4%. Okay, that's the U.S. economy,
since
the U.S. market
inauguration.
Since inauguration.
Yes.
So basically, eve of 100 days,
Right.
eve of tomorrow. Okay, and then just to pick some of the others, Canada, where the trade war is in full swing. That market is up 3.4%. I'm going off your numbers, Paul.
Yep.
These are the ways you track the index.
Yes.
Okay. UK up. Imagine a world in which this was us. 10.2. Okay. Germany, the German
This would've
boom
been
we've
last
talked
year.
so much about. Germany, okay, 18.5 up. I mean, this is sick. Now,
Yes.
what about Mexico?
Mexico.
I don't expect you to remember it
Yeah,
offhand,
no,
but
Mexico,
your number was
yeah.
20.9%.
Every
So
country-
one thing stands out here.
We're outperforming Turkey.
So objectively, we're also losing the trade wars that Trump decided to start on a whim for absolutely no reason. But trust Trump, he has 200 backdoor trade deals ready to go, one for every country and then 7 more for imaginary future countries, because he's such a masterful negotiator. That's the art of the deal. Leave it to Republicans to come into power, take the House, Senate, and presidency, and immediately send our economy onto the brink of recession, negative economic growth, worsen our position globally, if we're talking economically, just decimate our markets and destroy consumer sentiment. I mean, you gotta love it. Only conservatives could do it. It's almost like people forgot how atrocious Republicans actually are economically. COVID kind of saved that reputation for them. But I hope that this wakes people up to who the real adults in the room are.